everybody. It's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore
coming at ya. And we're so glad that you're here, and we pray that you guys have had a great week.
Yeah.
And today we are going to be going over Act 3, Scene 15 of the Restoration play, and really just covering this last week that the Lord has had us go through. And it was an intense week. Let's just say that. As far as just what God was doing with our whole family.
Oh, it was unexpected.
Yeah.
Just didn't think something like this would happen.
Yeah, so we'll be covering that. But before we begin, as always, we want to give a huge thank you to everyone who gives to us, has supported us, and we appreciate each and every one of you so much. And also for those who have been praying for us and our family. And again, that's just so needed, and we just appreciate all of that. And we are support-based, so if you would like to give to us, you can. We have a PayPal link and a Cash App link below, and you can click either one of those.
Yeah.
So we're just going to dive right in.
Yeah.
So basically, we left off with the heaven and earth and the visitation of heaven and earth. And
represented by
the
Cincinnati road trip and your brother coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those two relationships, that's how God has just used them in our lives as these markers of, like, I'm calling them to just witness what I'm doing in your life. I want them to see it.
And it's also kind of a sign for us that, like, when I'm about to change things.
Yeah, things are moving, shifting, all of that. So we basically finished having this, visiting heaven, and then having my brother come visit, which represents earth. And then we came into this next week. But honestly, and we even said this at the end of our last video, God had already shown us, hey, we're coming into a drying time. And really there was this picture of these road trips that God has been having us go on. We went to Atlanta, Cincinnati, and Kansas City was the very first one. And basically God was saying, like, I'm washing you. This is a time of washing. And then as we got to the end of the heaven and earth week last week, God started saying, okay, now I'm going to dry you. It's going to be a time of drying.
Don't think it's a time of waiting and go back to waiting and all that. It's like, no, that bench is destroyed. We're still continuing to do what we're doing, but it's like it might feel a little like that.
and just like
some triggers might happen.
I'm going to start drying you out. And so they're just being reminded of, a picture. It's like, okay, if you take a shower, you get out, you dry yourself off with a towel. You don't just start putting oil or lotion on yourself when you're still soaking wet.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what God was showing. He's like, okay, now I'm going to just dry you off. And so it was really interesting because on, I think it was Monday, we ended up, or Monday or Tuesday, one of the 2 days. I think it was Monday. But we ended up going, taking the car through a car wash, and because it just needed to get that outside all rinsed off. But we go through, and immediately I'm just thinking about the whole washing and drying, because obviously you go through it gets your car all soapy and rinses it off, but then you go through the dryers, which are just blasting the hot air onto your vehicle, and it's to just get all that water off. And
everything before that is like super exciting, and it's up close. You feel like these creepy creatures are going to creep into your car, and it's like, oh, this is all very exciting, and it's ooh, and then you get to the dry part, and it's just like,
and the car is just kind of shaking a little bit as you go through.
There's nothing exciting about it. But it's very intense.
Very intense.
It's like the most intense part, actually, of the whole process.
Yeah. And
that's what just happened to us.
Yeah, basically that was the week. It was just like, okay, we've been through like the washing, and it's just been like, whoa, this is amazing, this is amazing. We come into
like Kansas City, Atlanta, Cincinnati. And even those times in between when we're at Nashville, and we did fireworks.
And then even my brother coming, it was just like, wow, we're just doing really cool things. And then we come into this last week, and it's just like the hot air blowing to dry. But I was also reminded of, when you dry, like, you're drying off yourself with a towel, you're kind of like, you pat yourself dry. But we were thinking about, God, why is he doing the washing and the oiling and all of that? It's to bring healing. So if we take this to a heart level, but it's like, okay, what are you going to feel if you really literally had, wounds that were on your skin? Well, it might actually, you could feel the water kind of pounding on them. It might cause some, issues. But when you start like pressing, even if it's like a gentle pressing, it can really hurt some of those areas. And I really feel like this last week, that's what we were experiencing. God would just start pressing on certain areas of the heart, and it was just like
during a time when it was like there was nothing really exciting happening.
Yeah. And it was just there can be that pain there because you're like, wow, Lord, you're pressing on this area, and this hurts, but it's part of the process. Right. That God is bringing us through. He's like, this must be done. Like, pressing.
it's like a lot of times when you go to a doctor or something like that, or you're getting treatment for something, they have to do these certain things, or like you go to the dentist, and they're just like, I know, it's only a little while longer, but we have to do this. That's kind of what it was like for us, and it's like, and then sometimes, particularly at the dentist, and they hit certain points, and you're just like, you feel like you just got stabbed in the mouth with an ice pick. It's like, well, because you kind of did. The tiny little ice picks that they use. And so that's kind of been our week in the sense of like, can I share sometimes? It's like, because what does it mean, the hot air, the drying, and the intensity, and mixed with just the sitting there in the boring car, just drying on you? Well, it's just like all of our issues. All of the issues I think that we've had this entire wilderness time, through every 444 exposure we've ever had, it's like every single one just came to the surface in like Godzilla level. You know what I'm saying? Like volcanic explosion level. You know what I mean? And just, we can go and itemize through all the different ones that we experience in our family, but it's just like super intense. And just like that hot air that blows on your car to dry it off,
Yeah.
And I'm like, Lord, why is this the drying part? Why are you doing this? And it's like, well, because I need to let you guys know, like, I'm drying you out to let you guys know, like, this is what you're about ready to be healed from. This is gonna be this is what you're gonna be healed from,
Yeah. But it was interesting too, because even though like it was intense and there was just a lot of just the Lord pressing upon the heart, I really felt like we also experienced a lot of the grace of God, and He was really speaking a lot throughout the whole week of just forgiveness and letting go, and we were Psalm 32:1, blessed is the man whose transgressions are continually like forgiven. And God was just really speaking a lot over forgiveness, over really showing us like this is how God responds to our issues. We bring it before Him, we confess to the Lord, and He's like, I will forgive you. And but then also He was really highlighting to our whole family that, hey, this is how you can operate in a family. You operate the same way I do. You forgive one another. You're going to cover one another with love and grace, knowing that we all have we all need the support to work through those things. And so it was like so we had all of this pressing going on, but we also had this underlying, like, God's really His grace to say, you're going to continue to grow grace and mercy of just like, I'm teaching you, I'm showing you, have grace for one another, but also have mercy and compassion. And so it was just such an interesting pairing of just like, wow, Lord, you really are just trying to show us your heart of compassion for us so that we can show that to each other in just even greater ways. And and so, did you have anything else you wanted to comment on that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, I will just continue on, press on. But so it's really interesting because it was funny because we went through the car wash, I think it was Monday, and then Tuesday it was like, okay, we really need to just vacuum out. You know, you get so many like little crumbs and stuff in a car.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. So we vacuumed, so we went as a family again, and we ended up getting the car vacuumed out. And I thought it was very significant that both the car wash...
More intense air, but coming in a different direction.
Yeah, it's like the outside is getting clean, but the inside as well. Yeah, and it is. It's kind of, you got the blowing on, and then it's like sucking it up. It's like... And so you have both going on.
But it's just intense air.
Yeah.
Intense wind of the Spirit.
Yes. But then it was interesting because I thought it was so significant that both with the car wash and with the vacuuming, our entire family was a part of it. And was, you know, we all went through the car wash. We were all there when we were vacuuming things out. Because God was saying, like, everyone is going through this process. You know, this entire time, it's been, all of you are getting washed. All of you are getting dried.
Well, and it's like back in 2017, I'm calling you as a family.
Yeah.
It's not just mom and dad and the kids just kind of wait in the wings. Mm-hmm. You know, because there's a lot of times what you see with ministry, the Lord's like, no, I'm calling all of you guys as a family. Calling you as a family, that's a huge deal. I just feel that in the Spirit even now. It's God just raising up dynamic families.
Yeah.
You know, not just single ministers or even just couples, just like whole families.
Yeah.
You know, just anointed and walking in the Spirit, you know? So.
Well, and I think that's what kind of made this week so intense. You know, we've had 444s, but a lot of times God would be focusing maybe on one individual or two in our family, and it just like we might have an intense week, but it was with like one particular person.
Not everybody's in the fire at the same time.
Exactly. But this time it was almost like, all right,
everybody's in the fire.
Everyone's going through this. And
it's just like, oh my gosh. Like, are we going to die?
Yeah.
Because there's no one to support us but the Lord.
Yes. And the Lord's like, I am going to support you. And so this was what was kind of cool because we went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then on Thursday, Thursday was mega intense and just with everything. But then I loved it because God can take, you know, the heat and then he can just bring it to a point where there's breakthrough. And it was pretty much ongoing throughout the whole day, on and off. And then for God time at night, God just really...
Well, just like a flare-up of issues
and conflict and just like, you know, dealing with all of those things and the intensity of relationship. And it was just like, okay, what is going on? But then during our nighttime God time, it came to this point where God was really just encouraging all of us to really kind of set this like, hey, let's reset. Let's come into agreement with me that we want to learn and grow and just how we deal with conflict, how as a whole family, how you deal with those times when your heart gets triggered.
Kind of like an agreement for new beginnings.
Exactly.
Which is what the Lord told me. He's like, from this day forward, it's going to be growth all day, every day into new beginnings.
Yeah.
You know?
And it ended up being just this really great nighttime God time where it was just like all of us were like, yes, like we want to go with the Lord in this direction. So we ended up having this prayer time at the end of God time, and it was just like there was a sense of release and breakthrough. And it reminded
from the intensity.
Yeah, from the intensity. And it reminded us of, when we were going through the car wash, because, when you go through, you get your car and it gets lined up on the belt,
the little track.
The little track, and you put your car in neutral. So you're just kind
of... And
it's
the track that just takes you through it.
Exactly.
It's called the Holy Spirit.
Yes. So we're just kind of going through this car wash, but then at the end of it, you actually feel it as your front tires will bump and come off the track, but you still have to wait
until
like
this sense of release.
Till the back is ready to come through.
Yeah, you're not done yet.
No, not done quite yet. But that first initial intensity is like, boom, okay, you're going through, you're almost done. And then the back tires come off, and then you get the little green light to go. And so Thursday night was definitely a bump. Your front tires have come off, and now we're just waiting to continue to go through before we get the green light to go. And so Friday, there were still, it really was very much like that. There were still a few lingering things that were getting dried off, but for the most part, the hard intensity that we had gone through throughout the whole week, and particularly on Thursday, it was done. That part was finished.
Yeah.
And
however,
what?
Are we going to go into some of those issues though? Because I was thinking that we should.
I guess.
Some of the back issues, if we're still on the track, then what's actually still being dried out, remember? Yeah. And the Lord started dealing with me about some stuff. Yeah. And so, the Lord started dealing with me. And it's funny because when you think about the back of anything, you think of forgettable stuff, you think of the caboose of a train. A lot of kids love that, but really it's like the engine and how many cars you can get on. The back of something is not as amazing as the front. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The beginning of a thing. Because a lot of times people will start stuff and they won't finish it, so there is no back. But anyway, but we all have a past. We all have a story. We all have something that's behind us. And a lot of times when it comes to traumatic things or difficult things or something like that, we tend to just not think about them. If you hear crunching in the background, that's my son eating veggie sticks. Anyway, and so the Lord began to deal with me on an issue that's just been with me my whole life, and it's kind of a core human issue, but he was just dealing with me personally on it, and that was on the issue of just being good enough, and I felt like the Lord was showing me almost every area of my life, father, husband, provider, leader, even my relationship with the Lord, he's just showing me how there's this leaven, this huge, just leaven of heart that says, well, I'm just not good enough, and no matter what I do, I'm not going to be good enough. Mm-hmm. Friendships, other kinds of relationships in the world, and it's just this is just how you see yourself. And the Lord began to bring this up, and it wasn't an intense blowing of the Spirit on it. It was just yeah, you feel like that, don't you? And what about this? What about that? And it's and look at your life right now. You're 50 years old. What do you have to show for it? And though all these kind of things were coming up, not because the Lord was pointing these things out, but He was just saying, I'm pointing it out to show you this is how you feel about yourself. Mm-hmm. And I'm just whoa. And so that's just an example of one of those back burner issues that was just okay, we are definitely not done. We're definitely not out of the drying process, because this was coming up. Mm-hmm. And it was really just it was just hitting my heart. And the Lord was saying, you are good enough, And he was just showing like, hey, this is what you're thinking. And you live under this all the time. But here's what my word says to you. You know, and it was from that point on that the Lord started speaking. Was that from, he started speaking about resurrection and renewal and all that stuff, and how he's going to just renew and all that, and knowing that we were getting ready to go on our next adventure, which we're currently filming from the hotel. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was interesting too, because when the Lord was sharing about all these things that can be stirred up, you know, past things, or even just...
They're more subtle.
They're subtle.
More like forgettable.
And it was interesting because I was thinking about just the car and, you know, tires on a car. And so much of the time, you don't really think about your tires on the car.
I know.
You never...
It was a great conversation we were having.
Yeah, and it was like, it's not something that's like highlighted.
Yeah.
You know, if you were to research vehicles just to see like, ooh, is this the great vehicle or not? They're going to mention the tires, but that's about as much as they get. They're not going to go into a lot of details about that. And it's...
I mean, we literally just watched a video today about the Koenigsegg Regera, done by Vehicle Virgins, who's a huge
like car,
used to be, and then he went through some stuff, and now he's back, and everybody, you know, once you leave and come back, it's never the same.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, he's still going strong. I like the guy, but it's like, not one time did they say anything about the tires.
No, because but
I'm like,
guess
you're
what?
right.
If there are no tires on the vehicle, you're not going anywhere.
All that stuff that you're making the video about is meaningless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I just like that you asked me. Hold on, I gotta bring this up. I love that you're asking me, because it was just like a, oh yeah, kind of moment for me. He's like, how many times in all of your YouTube videos? Because I watch a bunch of guys that do like supercar YouTube stuff. That's what they do for a living. He's like, she was like, how many times have they mentioned the tires? And I'm like, almost never.
Yeah.
It's like they might mention like, oh, you know, this is the Porsche, you know, Cayman GT4, and it's running on Pilot Sport Cup 2s, and blah, 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 blah. That's about all you hear about the tires.
Yeah.
You hear Pilot Sport Cup 2, that's it.
Yeah.
You're done. Yeah. That's the only mention.
Yeah.
If they do that. And it just blew me away. I was like, wow, that's true.
But
almost never.
It's like, but they're so important, because you can't go anywhere unless you have tires on your car.
Yeah.
Right? And I just really felt like so much of the time, if, you know, a car representing like the vehicle, your life, and where you're going, the direction, it can, you know, it's like the tires, a lot of times I was making, it was just, the picture I was getting was just the thoughts and things that revolve around in our mind.
Those rotations.
And it's like, depending on your
RPMs.
tires, it's like, you know, if you had a warped tire, you can still go, but you're kind of, it's making things kind of funny.
It's going to be a bumpy ride.
It's going to be a bumpy ride. It's
not going to be fun.
No, but it's just like, I really was feeling just this sense of God saying like, hey, we need to change the tires. How you think about yourself, what's going on in the mind that you don't pay attention to all the time, that is there, it's buried deep in there, and you just live with it, but it actually affects your life on a continual basis. You know, if you have certain tires, the ride in your car can be bumpy, but if you put different tires on, it can be more smooth, you know, but it's just like God was just kind of coming in and it's like, I'm going to change the tires and change. And I think it was really, it's personal, but it's also in our family. Like, we're going to change the tires and the way, you know, it's the drive, right? It's like it affects the drive of the vehicle. Well, your tires, what you think about in your mind and your life, how you view yourself affects the drive of your life, how you respond and react to the world around you. If you had bald tires and you're in the snow, you're going to be slipping and sliding everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, there's no grip. Or even in the rain. And so how what's going on in our life, in our heart, and how we view ourselves can really affect how we move with the Lord, and move in the situations
or
that
whether
come.
we will move with the
Yeah.
Lord. Whether we will believe something is the Lord and attach our faith and give him our cooperation and just kind of go with the flow, even though it seems crazy, whether we'll even do that or not.
Yeah.
Because if you believe, well, this or that, oh, that's not the Lord, then you're not even going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Or
I think, for example, like Gideon, he had a really hard time believing that he could be a leader. But God had to continually bring support to him to say, hey, no, go and do what I've asked you to do. And so
that's
he had
what
to
he told me before this whole trip. It was like, go in the strength you have, or something like that. Yeah, and so I felt like, okay, Lord, this is a great offering that we just gave us, but it's like, it's not enough for the road trips or anything. What are we doing with this? Why did you give us this? And the Lord was like, go in the strength you have. I got that scripture. Go in the strength you have. And I was like, okay. And then that's when we went to Kansas City. And then we went to Atlanta. And I was like, okay. And by that time, we really realized, like, oh, we're just touching these places. We're not going full bloom into okay, that comes later. So you gave us this money to do this right now. Okay. Just to go and touch it. And then he gave us so much revelation. See, sometimes you don't get the full revelation of what God's doing until you step out. Those priests, they got the word from the Lord. They got the instruction from the Lord. But as long as they just stood there on the brink of the Jordan, waiting for the Jordan to part, it wasn't going to happen. Because that was not the instruction. The instruction was, step in. And it's like, when you step in, then it parts. You know what I'm saying? It's like, go dip 7 times, Naaman. Then you'll see the healing. You know what I'm saying? Do the instruction. And so that's kind of like what we've been doing this whole time.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's also been part of that doc series walk with the Lord. And oh my gosh, we found so many treasures on the beach of this walk with the Lord.
Yeah.
So many. And it's like the parade's about to start. And it's like, okay, so awesome. That in and of itself is still like, okay, what are we doing? But it's like, the more you walk with the Lord, the more the light you have surrounds the next area of life you're going into, and the next day and the next day, and you see more and you understand more of what God's doing and where he's leading you. And it's always going to come with more questions. It's always going to come with more questions, and so
yeah,
I just thought that was it just triggered that memory. It's just like, yeah, go in the strength you have. It's like you don't have to be what you think you have to be, or have what you think you have to have. It's like, you just have the Lord and you can go. That's what he was trying to tell Gideon. Like, but Lord, okay, we're going against this army. We need at least 20,000 warriors. We need at least and he's like, okay, I see what you're saying. But this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the heart. I want hearts that won't run away, that I can depend on. And let's do a little whittling down process. And they ended up with 300. And it was like, we definitely do not have enough. He said, oh no, you have enough. As soon as I came to it, I said, hey, Gideon, this is what we're going to do. That's all you needed right there. You should have known right then that the victory was at hand. It was already a sealed deal. It was already decided in heaven. I'm just coming down to earth to tell you you're the man that's going to deliver it. It's already a done deal. Where's your faith, bruh?
Yeah.
And that's me talking to myself.
Yeah. No, but I think what I love about that story, though, too, is just how God, he knew Gideon's heart and the issues that he dealt with fear, and yet he still met him there. And he was, he gets the 300 men, and then he's like, hey, go overhear the dream that I'm giving your enemy, and just as like, hey, this is real. I am about to deliver them into your hands.
Come on.
And
I like how he's like, hail, O mighty man of valor, and Gideon's like,
Who?
You talking about him? Let me get out the way. Sorry.
There's no one behind you getting in. You're the only one here.
Oh, I thought you were talking to a horse.
Yeah. His name's Valor, and that must have been who you were talking to.
Yeah, the two horses, Mighty and Valor.
Yeah.
Those two.
Oh, so funny.
So you definitely not talking about me, bruh. You don't know you don't know. Yeah. The guy's like, oh, I know what I have spoken into you. I know who you really are underneath there. You've just been living with, come on now, you've just been living with this sackcloth of opposite identity this whole time. You've just been living with it. In other words, I'm taking that off of you right now. Come on.
Amen.
Woo! Glory to God.
Well, and that actually was something that the Lord was he was highlighting as he was speaking about, just like, hey, these are some things that are in the back, as far as just like, you deal with these things all the time, but it's not really always recognized. And it was just like, but I am looking at the heart, and I am calling out who I've made you to be.
Yeah.
And I want you to come into agreement and believe that over yourself, and exchange. There's that whole renewing of the mind. That's why we have to renew our minds, because we have these old tires that keep getting on the life of our vehicle and what God's trying to do in our life, and we're having these bumpy rides and going like, what's going on? Maybe it's this, maybe, and it's like, no, let's change those out, and for the truth of what God is speaking over us. And he's like, I see the heart. This is what I'm calling out. This is your identity. This is who you are. And let's be reminded of that and come into alignment with that. And I really think all of this goes into, we talked about at the beginning of this year, we're in day 6 of creation. For maybe those of you who don't even know about all of that, each year of this journey, God has compared to the days of creation.
Starting with 2017.
Yeah. And so this is year 6, and on day 6 of creation was when the Lord created all of the animals, but he created man, and he formed Adam in his image. And so it's like, this year is a lot about our identity, and who we are in Christ, and to have God form, fashion, and create his image onto us in our hearts.
But where are my animals?
They're coming.
Where are my animals? Where are my pets? Where's my reptiles? My lizards and stuff. Which are reptiles.
They'll be
anyway.
here.
This year? Is this the year?
No, but even in that,
but the animals. Oh, were you going to talk about that?
Yeah, well, a lot of times, for us, God has also spoken to, just like, we had last year in June, we had a whole syllabus. We went through Genesis chapter 1. You can go back and look at those. We called it the garden tour, right?
Yeah, there's quite a few videos there.
Yeah, and but in it, God was speaking to like the animals, kind of representing the dreams and visions that he gives his people. Because for Adam, he was to take care of the animals. And so in our lives, when God gives us dreams and visions, we take care of them. We tend to them.
That's true.
And
it's
so
like a Genesis 8:17 type of thing,
where
you just release all the animals and
Noah from the ark.
And what did I say? Did I say something wrong?
No, I was talking about Adam, and then you switched over to Genesis 8, so I just wanted to make sure it was like, this is Noah releasing animals from the ark.
Okay, cool. I thought I was going to say Moses was coming out the ark or something.
No.
But anyway, yeah.
Oh, so yes, they get released from the ark, and it's like the releasing of dreams and visions because they've been stored up. And so in our life, there's just so many dreams and visions God has stored up and he's poured into. And there will
he's
come
been talking about that this week or this year.
Yeah, and just coming a point when he's like, okay, I'm going to release these forth. And so that's kind of also where you have the the picture of day 6, where God's like, hey, I am going to bring forth the dreams and visions. Like, they're going to come forth, just as I'm going to create you into my image, and you're going to see it, and it's going to be revealed, and I just think fully made known. And I particularly have noticed since June, just God really emphasizing being made in his image, and like our identity and who God's made us to be. And back actually in March, we God had us draw pictures of each of us individually, and what he was speaking over us, and how he sees us, and we have them on our wall. And it's just like, I feel like there's just been a continual reminder of like, hey, look at what I've spoken over you. Look at who I've made you to be.
For sure.
This is where I'm taking you. This is how I'm forming and fashioning you and making you.
And I feel like,
go ahead.
That's kind of like what the back of the car being dried out issues have been. You know, it's just kind of a reminder of that. You know, because once you get to that back of the car, it's like you feel that release up front, and then pretty soon it's like boom. You don't wait very long, and then yeah. So you want to keep going with that part?
Yeah. So basically, Friday was kind of just like that release of this back half of the vehicle, and then we had in the car wash, you then get a green light, and you can just put it in drive,
go.
Yeah. And literally Saturday morning we got up and we started our drive out here. To Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Okay. I was like, are we not saying what that is?
No, we're saying. So yeah, so currently we're in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and
my old YWAM stomping ground.
Yeah,
from 24 years ago.
Yeah, and we just
That's
really
a long time.
Yeah, we really felt like the Lord was just like, this is where you need to be, and so we're out here, just seeing what God has.
Well, yeah, and it is already. It's just different than the other trips. The Lord said it was going to be different, and He shared that vision about that unfurled leaf with the oil all over it and everything. And I'm just like, okay. We've already really kind of had 2 transitional moments on this trip, so I almost feel like we haven't really even settled into the trip yet.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's like it's like we still have been traveling.
Yeah.
And I think today is like our first full day of just like not transitioning.
Yeah, exactly.
But even doing this video is almost like a
transitional
moment where we have to be doing something.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I mean, praise the Lord, we love it. But
yeah.
It is definitely different, and I think it's just going to get better from here, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be really cool, so.
Yeah. So.
To be continued.
That's where we're at.
That's literally been our week, though.
Yeah.
Watch the video, if you made it this far, I'm telling you, that's been our week. It's just been exposure, and release.
Yep.
That's it. But man, we are still seeing so many 444s like crazy, and it's just like, oh my gosh. It's like we have gone into a bunch of prophetic things. Lots of words the Lord's given us, but it's like we can't do that on this video because this video doesn't represent those things.
Yeah.
You know, so trust me, we are sitting here itching and boiling to just say, ooh, you got to listen to this.
Yeah.
Ooh, check this out, but it doesn't fit into this video.
Yeah.
So you have really cool stuff to look forward to next video, unlike this video. So.
But yeah, so I think we will wrap it up there unless you had anything.
I mean, there's nothing else to say. I don't think about Acts 3, scene 15. That was it.
Yeah.
We're going through that car wash, and it's just like, all right, here we're at the drying stage, and that's literally all of scene 15.
Yep. So I do hope and pray that you guys were blessed by what the Lord had to share, and we are continuing on this journey with the Lord, and I do pray blessing over all of you, and pray that God just continually supports you, yourself and your journey with the Lord, that He would give you strength to continue to rise above, especially if you're facing just that the intensity of
Psalm 20 verse 2.
yes,
right?
May
Send you help
from the sanctuary. And so we just pray blessings on all of you, and we will see you guys again.
Yep.
All right.
Bye-bye,
Love
guys.
you. Bye.